Today on International Women's Day, at the request of women in Gaza, we organized this rally, this protest in support of the Palestinian struggle for liberation, in support of the people of Gaza against the brutal genocide, not just backed, but carried out by this country, by the United States of America, and by genocide Joe Biden. When we say Israel bombs, USA pays, how many kids did you kill today? This is not just rhetoric. This is not just a slogan. Since October 7th, the United States of America, using your tax dollars, has sent over 15,000 bombs, 57,000 artillery shells, and 21,000 precision-guided munitions. Do you know how much I was assaulted? I was assaulted by a Zionist on International Women's Day. And now the NYPD is threatening to assault me again. People play music in Union Square all the time. People are loud. We don't need a mic to be loud.
One warning, that's it. If you use it again, you're going to be arrested. That's it.
Officer, can I see your name? Thank you. Can I see your name? Thank you. Oh, please do. I appreciate your honesty. I'm sorry. It's all like saying that
never been for our protection.
They have never been for our protection.
They are part and parcel.
They are part and parcel
Of the racist.
of the racist.
Genocide Yeah, take care of that.
Palestinians in Gaza
Are now also undergoing the systemic targeting of all forms of life. Palestinian lives. Hospitals and schools. Infrastructure. Come under Zionist barbaric attacks. As the entire world watches. Live broadcast of bombs. Weighing thousands of tons. Funded by taxpayers' money. Dropping on our people in Gaza. On the 8th of March. International Women's Day. We affirm that the Zionist killing machine. Discerns no difference. Between man and woman. Adult and child. It is predicated on erasure. And is threatened. By the mere existence. Of Palestinians. Especially those in Gaza. Whose bodies are signs of resistance. Against decades of settler colonial violence. We stand here today for the men and women of Gaza. For the children and youth of Gaza. For our grandmothers and grandfathers. Custodians of history and memory. And all those who have made Gaza. A popular cradle. For its valiant resistance. We stand for the bricks, the sea, the streets, the trees. We stand for the memories of the past and the hopes of the future. That make Gaza our home. Every day now. We see Palestinian women giving birth. In unsafe conditions. Mothers killed with unborn babies. In their wombs. Children who have lost their entire families. Men searching for their loved ones under the rubble. With their bare hands. And doctors forced to amputate. The limbs of their own children. On a table in a house. Surrounded by tanks and snipers. Lacking any medical equipment. Hundreds of thousands of our people. In the northern part of Gaza. Are besieged. Facing a systematic starvation policy. As a tool of the genocidal war. Waged by the Zionist entity. Aiming to break the resilience. Of an oppressed and proud people. And for our elders. soldiers have been flaunting clips of themselves, rummaging through, and parading the lingerie of forcibly displaced or murdered Palestinian women. An integral part of the colonial apparatus. Its structure, function, and practice. Sexual violence. Against Palestinian women. Completely overlooked. Testimonies of rape. Sexual assault. And brutal torture. Of Palestinian women. Kidnapped in Gaza. Enduring Israeli detention. Have not elicited recognition or solidarity from liberal feminist institutions. Palestinian women have experienced sexual harassment and threats of raping family members. They have dogs unleashed on them. They have been stripped naked. Deprived of food and access to restrooms. We demand immediate action. To fight all oppressive structures. That enable these brutal crimes. No genocide is feminist. Even as Israeli female soldiers. Take selfies on the rubble. Of our destroyed homes. Shame. We are now all in the same trench. Those who choose to manufacture consent for genocide. Whether directly making the bombs. Or passing the policies for the bombs to fall. Do not belong. To our feminist. Anti-colonial. Struggle. Their feminism is only an extension of the ruling class. Today we also affirm our rejection of the dehumanization of Palestinian men and the perpetuation of racist and colonial tropes about the colonized. Feminist and anti-colonial struggles in Palestine are intertwined. We reject the hijacking of our movement. Serve Zionist propaganda. We refuse to reduce the massacred Palestinians to mere numbers. Recounted in a cursory manner. That detracts from our humanity. Even the staggering statistics we see on the news are inaccurate. In light of the testimony from people on the ground. As well as Palestinian journalists and medics. Regarding thousands of missing individuals. Those hastily buried.
illegally buried.
And those under the rubble undocumented.
The square sidewalks in schools.
The square sidewalks in schools
And hospitals of Gaza.
and hospitals of Gaza
Have become mass
have become mass graveyards.
If we were to narrate
If we were to narrate
the daily suffering of our people
the daily suffering of our people
in this genocide,
in this genocide,
we would need endless speeches
we would need endless speeches
and an eternity of pain,
and an eternity of pain,
compiling an archive of our people's losses
compiling an archive of our people's losses
would not suffice.
will not suffice.
The cries of Hind's mother
The cries of Hind's mother
are but a drop on the ocean
are but a drop in the ocean
of Palestinian mothers' cries
of Palestinian mothers' cries
and the last farewell of Reem's grandfather
and the last farewell of Reem's grandfather
to his soul of his soul.
to his soul of his soul.
It's merely a glimpse of 1,000 farewells
It's merely a glimpse of 1,000 farewells
made in hospital corridors,
made in hospital corridors,
wrecked homes and silent prayers.
wrecked homes and silent prayers.
It pains us
It pains us
that those under extermination
that those under extermination
are compelled to point their cameras
are compelled to point their cameras
towards the bodies of their loved ones
towards the bodies of their loved ones
in moments of farewell and sorrow,
in moments of farewell and sorrow,
moments that are meant to be sacred
moments that are meant to be sacred
have been desecrated for you.
have been desecrated for you.
Palestinians document them
Palestinians document them
to
to prove
that this is all indeed happening.
that this is all indeed happening.
Those who have lost loved ones
Those who have lost loved ones
have been deprived of the right to mourn,
have been deprived of the right to mourn,
to honor their bodies with proper burials,
to honor their bodies with proper burials.
as the privacy of farewell has been violated.
As the privacy of farewell has been violated,
The least those in solidarity can do
the least those in solidarity can do
is not turn these images
is not turn these images
into commodities of performed sorrow,
into commodities of performed sorrow,
but mobilize our anger
but mobilize our anger
and our grief into political action.
and our grief into political action.
We reject the romanticization
We reject the romanticization
of Palestinian suffering under genocide,
of Palestinian suffering under genocide,
as they are left with no choice
as they are left with no choice
but to try to survive.
but to try to survive.
The entire world has seen Palestinian women,
The entire world has seen Palestinian women,
including doctors, risking their lives
risking their lives
to save the wounded,
to save the wounded,
women gathering firewood
women gathering firewood
to cook for their families,
to cook for their families,
amid Israel's continued blockade of gas.
amid Israel's continued blockade of gas.
Displaced women baking bread
Displaced women making bread
in makeshift tents,
in makeshift tents,
and our mothers in North Gaza
and our mothers in North Gaza
making bread from animal feed
making bread from animal feed
amidst the scarcity
amidst the scarcity
of aid
of aid
and the partial stunts of aid drops, which killed 5 people today, by the way.
which killed 5 people today.
Even when the U.S. sends food,
Even when the U.S. sends food,
they are killing our people.
they are killing our people.
You have seen mothers making diapers
You have seen mothers making diapers